those early finals where he beat John, he was just like, there was something genius about what Ronnie was doing. Okay, he's still got that, but he's kind of got to be a little bit more, show a bit more ring craft these days. Got to play the safety shots. He's got to. He can't just destroy everybody with, with a long pot and clear. His game has changed as well.
It's a very good analogy. A boxer with a lot of rounds on the clock needs to use that ring craft. Exactly right. Well, he used it all against Ding Junhui. We've already said. Sorry, he used it all against Mark Allen when he was there, didn't he? Mark Allen actually had the 600th century in the history of the Masters in this match, and he had to pull everything together to get over the line.
Yeah, this Brown goes in. It's Mark Allen who's playing Ronnie O'Sullivan. This is quite a big miss for Mark Allen, but he's had a new cue. He's been struggling a bit. John Higgins seems to be happy with his new cue. His long potting in that match was phenomenal, John Higgins. He potted like 13 out of 16. Here he's just potting the pink to win a match he shouldn't have won.
He still has to dish it up, doesn't he?
He can dish up all day long. That's what he does. He probably needs to do that a bit more now, because I don't think he's always quite so good at the start of the frames. But, you give him 5 reds and the colours and you can clear the lot, then he'll clear the lot. You can be sure of that.
Absolutely. Well, listen, we're all ready for it. There's such a buzz in social media and amongst snooker fans about tonight. Those sporting events that you look at what you got to do the dishes, maybe have to have a bath, make sure the kids get to bed, and you join a sporting event halfway through. It's not one of those nights. Stay where you are. It's next. Welcome back. The men's slalom returns to Eurosport tomorrow, nice and early in the morning, 8:20 on Eurosport 2 and on the app as well. Dave Riding going for his 4th podium finish of this World Cup season. With just one slot left in the semi-finals of the 2021 Masters here from the Marshall Arena in Milton Keynes, and one way or the other it will be filled by a legend. Ronnie O'Sullivan versus John Higgins, and the relationship on and off the table goes back decades.
Oh yeah, he's unbelievable. Brilliant player. Master of our game, you know. I actually, you know, everyone thinks he's a great player. I think he's better than that, you know. So, but it's definitely, you've got Hendry and John and Judd, maybe, you know, them three that have played the game to a level that probably no one else has ever played it, you know.
For Ronnie's side, I mean, I'm maybe, along with Mark Williams, we're maybe falling down the rankings a little bit now. We're not competing to win these events, whereas Ronnie still is just now. He is really still up there competing with Judd and Neil and Mark Selby and Kyrie Wilson, but no, we're still hanging about.
There was times when I didn't enjoy playing him because you just sit in your chair for like long periods of time and just not see a shot, and you know, it can be quite demoralising, you know. But you know, I was young and you know, I could take a few big punches, if you like, you know, because he hit me with a lot. If I was a bit older, I probably would have just gone, you know what. But when you're younger, you kind of get up, dust yourself down, and come back a bit stronger. And I think he's made me a better player, and hopefully I've made him a better player. That we've pushed each other on, you know.
I always loved playing Ronnie. I think someone said this. Tomorrow it'll be Friday, so it'll be our 70th meeting. I think we've overtaken like Jimmy White and Steve Davis, their rivalry. So yeah, I think it'll go down obviously when we pack in our careers. A healthy, a friendly rivalry it's always been. I don't think we've ever really had cross words with each other. I think we've maybe respected each other too much. So, no, I always look forward to playing Ronnie.
Well, it's already been mentioned there by John Higgins, but have a look at that. 35 wins to 28. Is that the most of any two players that have ever lifted cues in the professional game? It's got to be close.
Yeah, we're pretty sure it is. There were some great rivalries between Hendry, Davis, guys like that, but it's like another chapter in the long book that you didn't know that would always be there, and more chapters keep coming up. Tonight's another one. These two have met so many times. They're two, you know, the greats of the game.
Look at that, 30 ranking titles for John Higgins. Only 3 players ever ahead of him, and Ronnie O'Sullivan is right up there on the 37. You take me back. You would have been, I'm not going to go into ages, but you two, talk to me about when the 3 teenagers of the class of 92, throw Mark Williams in, first appeared on your radar, first turned up with a lunchbox and short trousers.
Well, I mean, I saw Ronnie play at age 12 and Mark Williams, and there was a big tournament in 1991, the Mitre World Series, the World Open. Jimmy doesn't like to talk about it. He won the big boys event, you know, the big prize. But the junior event was for under 16s, right? And in London, we couldn't, and the sort of home counties, no one could see beyond O'Sullivan. He'd made 147 breaks in tournament play. The Welsh contingent came up. It's all in Birmingham at the NEC. The Welsh contingent could not see beyond Mark Williams winning it. And someone come up from the frozen north, John Higgins. No, we didn't know anything about him, and he won the whole thing. You know, Ronnie didn't make it to the final. Mark Williams is the man that John beat in the final. Never smiled all the way through, and we realised, hang on, when we didn't know about him in the same way we knew about Ronnie at the time, did we?
No, you heard more, but once you see John Higgins, you knew he was the complete player. He had, you know, temperament, positional play, safety player, and a great potter. And he's always played the right shot, John Higgins. You know, he's a bit like Steve Davis in that respect. I remember watching him play in the 2006 Masters final. I was there, and John Higgins was 60-odd behind the last frame, 9 each, cleared up 110-9, and during that break, he played a red towards the middle, and it just hanged over the pocket, and everyone thought it was going to stay there, and it dropped. And then the last red, he doubled. And Ronnie O'Sullivan talks about it often. That was the worst defeat he'd ever had. But it was an electric match from start to finish.
Yeah, that's absolutely where we go. We go through all the different decades, quite literally, right, Neil?
Yeah.
Quite literally, every decade we got memories.
Yeah, I mean, you know, Dave Hendon put up a tweet earlier on that they played as teenagers in the Masters, in their 20s, their 30s, now their 40s. They're both 45, and they're both still at the top of the tree, aren't they? You know, Ronnie is still the world champion. And we're not talking about lesser lights here, are we? We're talking about big hitters in the game still.
Look how many times he's stood backstage at a Masters, just waiting to come out and play. He's doing that right now, John Higgins. Just getting ready. Yeah, I think he has a tremendous will to win. I think that's one thing that, whereas Ronnie will have a more philosophical attitude because they're different human beings. He's all about the W.
John's always been about the W. Ronnie O'Sullivan is about the W now for the last 10 years for me. But John Higgins, from a young lad, is all about winning, and that's why his temperament is always up there, and he's never beat. That's why he does so many phenomenal clearances.
I find that really interesting. That's the first time that they've both stood beside each other here. They know each other so well. They're absolutely friends with a capital F. But there you go. There's the warrior mentality, Neil. Not a look, not a word.
No, big respect here. Ronnie's really up for this, and I think he's had his blip in his match with Thing that could have gone against him. My own view on this match is that Ronnie will win, and I think he might win quite comfortably. You know, I mean, I've put in the proviso that we've only got one match to go by, that he's back. I think he might be back, and I think he'll win easily.
Yeah. What's your thoughts, Jimmy?
I think Ronnie will win. I wouldn't be that surprised if Higgins won, because he's that good, John Higgins. But on the previous matches they both played, Ronnie is big favourite.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what John Higgins we get tonight. We're pretty sure what Ronnie we're going to get. We are, of course, best 11 at this stage. We're really, really excited about this one. Thank you so much for choosing Eurosport to watch tonight's action unfold. Two absolute legends of snooker taking each other on. As we say, they've done it through all the decades. So we have to be realistic. Every time they do play on the biggest stage, how many more have we got? It makes it all the more special. First 4 frames of Ronnie O'Sullivan against John Higgins. So let's cue the music and get John Higgins out.
His opponent, who made it a magnificent 7 Masters titles with his victory 4 years ago, bidding for a 15th semi-final. He is, of course, the reigning world champion.
Have in store this evening. Nearly 60 years of combined snooker brilliance between these two titans of the game. And it's Ronnie O'Sullivan to get us underway. Their 64th meeting. Their 10th Triple Crown encounter. Incredibly, you have to go back to 2011 for the last time they met in a Triple Crown event. Of course, that was John Higgins' 4th world title. He beat O'Sullivan in the quarters on his way to Crucible title number 4. So this Triple Crown encounter is long overdue. For O'Sullivan, a 22nd Masters quarter-final. And of course, he's chasing his own record, looking for title number 8. He's made this tournament his, really, down the years.
Yeah, at one time we thought it was Stephen Hendry's, didn't we? Gave him the trophy.
Yeah. 5 straight wins, and it took the final frame decider to deny him a 6th, of course, when he lost to Alan McManus in 1994.
But of course, O'Sullivan has surpassed that now with 7 wins here. Quite incredible, really, that they've played 63 times in ranking events, which the Masters, I'm including the Masters, although it's not a ranking event. Well, that's the first mistake, and it comes from Higgins with the safety. Didn't get enough side on the cue ball to miss the blue. But difficult pot this. But if he can leave the cue ball where the red is, he shouldn't leave anything easy if he misses. Great pot. Great pot. He did leave the red on, but doesn't make any difference. It went in.
He was 4 out of 5 from long range in that fabulous match against Ding Junhui, who threw plenty at O'Sullivan and, of course, was in sight of victory. Missed a long red to the right corner, but how well O'Sullivan responded from 5-3 behind. He looked razor sharp. Plenty of evidence of that 6 hours a day practice, Joe, that he's been putting in by all accounts in the build-up to this.
Yeah, well, he looks sharp, doesn't he? If you look at his face, and he looks almost clean, as though, you know, he's just come out of the shower. But he looks sharp. You know, if there's any excess weight, it's gone, because he looks fit as a fiddle. And if he has been practicing like he says he has, then players beware. Just came a little bit too far for the red to be able to get back to the black. He'd like to get the blue back on its spot, but he's the wrong side of the blue. Could drop it in and play the red next to the pink, but he'd be playing it from distance. Might be able to play with a touch of left-hand side, this blue. Very difficult shot to judge that, but he's judged it perfectly.
12.
Now, should be able to get to the black here.
13.
There's a certain calmness about this cue action.
20.
It's not as hectic as it is sometimes. It seems to have that
21.
pause about before he plays the shot, and it's very effective.
He did make a lot of reference, didn't he, during his run to a 6th world title back in the summer, about his cue action,
28.
or lack of it, that he was searching for one.
Well, this is a good action that he's got right now. It's a slow backswing.
29.
It's like he's in full control of his action. Now, could go into the reds here. I say could because it was an easy red to play for. But unless he can see that red to the middle...
36.
Good recovery shot.
37.
Pink doesn't go to this left corner, so he knew that he would be taking on a difficult yellow or brown. That's another very good recovery shot. He didn't commit to coming down the table for the reds. He was confident enough to leave himself this long red to the
41.
corner. Just awkward with the green there. Another beauty.
42.
Ominous early signs if you're in the John Higgins camp. O'Sullivan striking the ball so cleanly. This is a rivalry that dates back 27 years. Their
49.
first ever meeting was in the Dubai Classic, 1994. O'Sullivan won resoundingly, 5-1. Almost immediately, Higgins returned the compliment
50.
in the Grand Prix of that year, on his way to his first ranking title. The first of 30, of course. O'Sullivan has a record 37. So
57.
many classics that they've shared since then.
$58.
Now, may decide to go into them again here. Not easy to get onto the next red. And again, caught the wrong red, but he's okay. He's on this red to the middle. Think
65.
we'll go to the right corner. If it's the wrong side of the red, not too difficult to go down for one of the baulk colours. But he could get to the pink.
66.
And this pink will leave John Higgins needing snookers. And this is the way to punish.
Higgins left
This
a red
is,
for O'Sullivan.
yeah, and this is the safety. Attempted safety.
And just 7 minutes it's taken O'Sullivan to get to frame ball.
Well, what a super shot that just was,
72.
Philip. Coming off the side cushion with a touch aside to open the reds up. He could have played for the red behind the black. But decided to go into them.
$73.
Didn't play the kiss. But the way he's playing, should be able to come in and out of baulk in between the brown and the green.
A possible 139 left for O'Sullivan, which wouldn't be enough to claim the high break prize. Yan Bingtao making a quite magnificent 141. His career high break to clinch victory in the decider earlier against Stephen Maguire, who'd earlier eclipsed Kyron Wilson's best break of 136 with a 137.
81.
How many times have we seen this, though, Philip? You know, the top players come out and make a century or a frame-winning break at the first attempt.
88.
Yes, and one or two of the shots not straightforward, but very crisply
89.
struck. Very confident start from O'Sullivan.
$96.
Trying to wobble the cue ball out of the
97.
jaws. Come on, let's see this black going on pink. Unlucky.
Ronnie
Yeah,
O'Sullivan,
no
97 on the
76th
front.
Masters century from Ronnie O'Sullivan, but that was some statement of intent from the 7 times champion. A 97 break and a 1-0 lead. And all of that coming from John Higgins, looking to get back to baulk with his safety, catching the blue. This is it.
Yep, caught the reds just a little bit too thin. Not enough left-hand side on the cue ball. But this wasn't a gimme, was it, this red to the left corner? You know, it was a confident red to take on. Look at this for a shot, because it was leaving the red at the back of the pack. But that went in so clean. Never touched the sides. And that just set the pattern, gave him the confidence straight away.
And there was another pot, wasn't there, Joe, later in the break into the right centre, which he struck very cleanly, very confidently.
Yep, and another one to the right corner when he was in a little bit of trouble. He potted a good brown, left himself a long red, and that little stun run through, again, was very clean. Went straight in the middle of the pocket, left himself on the black, and what a confident start from Ronnie O'Sullivan.
John Higgins, if he didn't know already, knows he's going to have to play exceptionally well this evening. Higgins said ahead of this showdown that he would need his A game. The respect between these two, as you heard before the match got underway, is absolute. They go back such a long way.
The second frame, John Higgins to break.
Courtesy of that break of 97, it's first blood to O'Sullivan.
Got to cover this red over the left corner, and he's just about done it. The red to the right corner. It looks like the cue ball's going into the reds or the black, so difficult to take that one on. Can't leave the cue ball on the black cushion because of that red behind the black. Can't come off the right side cushion and land up into the pack. So it looks like he's taking it on. Oh, what a shot. What a brilliant shot. It deserves to be a frame winner, that one. Couldn't think of a good safety. So played the pot, played for the black. But that little flick on the red there just sent the cue ball behind that red he's nearest to. So just a safety.
His cue at the start of last season, and he's changed it again very recently, but he's been getting plenty of practice in with it. Of course, he played in the Championship League last week. He won his group, winning the final against Karen Wilson, and in the process last week he made 11 centuries, so he's come into this tournament match sharp, feeling good about his game.
Wow, 11 centuries. But it's a good point. Match sharp, all important.
14. Well,
he wasn't forced to have finished on the black there, but he's on it. Still got a couple of reds he can play for yet. And not an easy pack to go into from the black. He's had a good look round. Red will go to the right middle.
$23.
He's given himself options here. He can go into them. He could play for the red. That's nearest the right side cushion. Wasn't an easy pack to go into.
$30.
Well, he's found a bonus here. Red to the middle.
31.
Nicely played. And now the Reds are at his mercy. Could have done with that cue ball just a couple of inches nearer the red. May have to play down for the blue. Otherwise he'd have to dig down into the cue ball to play for the black.
Sure. 39.
Deliberately left it short on the blue so he could play in and out of balk, but just travelled again a little bit further than he wanted. Yeah, he played the more difficult yellow to avoid the balk colours.
41.
So he needs a good recovery shot now. And Sullivan played a couple in the last frame. So, didn't finish the game off in one visit.
41.
But a good 41-point lead. But the way the Reds are situated, not much of a lead. Found a nice line there. Trying to force Higgins into taking the long straight red on. There may not be another shot to play. Oh, another beauty. Great shot from Higgins. Good safety from O'Sullivan. But what a pot. John Higgins. And he's finished a little straight on the green. Or maybe even the wrong side. Wants to get closer to the Reds, if possible. Well, that's okay. He's on a couple of reds to both corners.
4.
O'Sullivan's 26th Masters appearance this year. Of course, he opted not to enter the tournament last year. Higgins, 27th. And only Steve Davis and Jimmy White can match that tally. In the case of Higgins, it's 27 consecutively, even more
12.
extraordinary. Testament to his longevity in this most rich of snooker vintages, the class of 92. He hasn't
13.
always enjoyed the Masters in the past. Higgins would be the first to admit that at times he found the intimidating nature of the crowd back in the days of the Wembley Conference Centre a little unnerving, but he still managed to win it twice. And the second of those, of course, was one of the most memorable in the history of this tournament against O'Sullivan, when he made that wonderful 64 clearance from 60 behind in the deciding frame.
Still talking about it even now. That's how good it was.
15 years on, Joe.
And this red, and he'll have leveled things up, or should have done.
21.
Yeah, 61, the advantage, just 59 left. Just the response that John Higgins was looking for.
It's only one snooker, though, so he must get this in.
Two outstanding long reds from Higgins in this frame. Lost position when he'd made 41, but the second of those great long reds has got him in for the chance to kill the frame off, which it certainly looks as though he has now, with only 59 left, 67 the lead.
27.
Three snookers needed. He may play on if this doesn't go in.
28.
Well, Ronnie O'Sullivan just missed out on the century in the last frame, 97.
We've already had 20 in this tournament, which is 2 more than the whole of last year's event combined. 3 more this afternoon, of course, between Maguire and Yan Bingtao, as O'Sullivan has his turn to warm his chair.
34. 35.
Just under hit that one slightly.
40.
41. In off the pink.
John Higgins, 41 under frame.
O'Sullivan remains in his chair. A pair of 41 breaks then from John Higgins, and a couple of outstanding long reds to get him in on both occasions. Enough to level at 1-1.
Well, those watching at home who want this to go long, who want to see a really competitive game between two legends, will really like what they saw in that second frame, Neil.
Well, indeed, and they'll like the fact that John Higgins is potting long balls, because you're not going to get in very often. Ronnie's not going to leave you absolutely right in amongst them. This was a tremendous long pot to the left corner, which got him started. He didn't win the frame there because he actually broke down a positional shot where he hit the green, but this was a tremendous pot as well, Jimmy.
Yeah, you know, both long game is intact, both one frame visits, you know, top class match from two absolute giants. 1-1, brilliant stuff.
You're bang right. Let me tell you about John Higgins. Has not missed a pot, has not missed a long pot, has not missed a shot. With the rest, he's at 100% across the stats. And Ronnie O'Sullivan is about 2% behind him. Just what we wanted to see. Let's hope it continues in this classic vein. Let's get back to the commentary.
And after such a blistering start from Ronnie O'Sullivan, that terrific break of 97, important, I think, for John Higgins, who is considered the underdog this evening, to respond immediately and respond in the style in which he did. Those two excellent long reds will have given him a lot of confidence about the health of his game in his bid to get the better of this man. Sixth the target, of course. Dave Gilbert awaiting the winner in our second semi-final tomorrow evening.
The red not quite on to the right corner. The cue ball's going into the black. Excellent pace.
Not one, but two taps on the table from the 7 times winner. Well, Higgins pointed out that it's been a friendly rivalry. Don't recall there ever being a cross word between Ronnie O'Sullivan and John Higgins. O'Sullivan has often spoke about Higgins as being the complete player, perhaps in his eyes the best of all time, and Higgins, I think, feels the same about his opponent.
Yeah, just caught it a little bit too thick, and that's why he's brought the red down the table. But he'd have to take it to the middle if he wants to forge a break here. Another very good safety. Cutting off the right side of the reds. Very nearly. Well, the last time he was forced into taking a red on, he potted it. Not this time, though. No damage done.
O'Sullivan was just 19 years of age when he beat John Higgins handsomely for his first Masters title back in 1995. 10, or rather 9-3 the score back in the days when it was the best of 17 in the final. And of course, were he to go on to lift his record 8th title this weekend, he would eclipse the defending champion Stuart Bingham as being the oldest ever winner. Of course, Bingham is still involved. He takes on Yan Bingtao tomorrow afternoon. O'Sullivan having celebrated his 45th birthday just before Christmas. Higgins will turn 46 in May.
A kiss on the brown has covered the red. That's closest to the left corner. Yeah, he needs a bit of luck. Well, he's covered the easy red over the left corner, but there is another red to the right corner. You heard the intake of breath, and that was for catching the reds too thick. Great shot with the rest.
One.
And if he takes the black on, it's another brave shot to take on when you've got such an easy blue. But he knows if this goes in, he's nicely on the next red. Great rest player.
Eight. Nine. 16. $17.
There have been times in the last few seasons when Higgins has spoken a little negatively about the state of his game, but not recently. And he said to Rachel ahead of this match this evening that he doesn't just want to show up at these events, he wants to contend. Doesn't want to be a no-hoper, in his words. Well, he's never going to be that. He's way too good, even if he's not quite as brilliant as once he was. But he has been in good form in the build-up to this. And he looks very keyed up to play O'Sullivan tonight.
25.
In fact, they both look up for it, don't they? Which is great news for us.
I guess it's automatic, isn't it, Joe, in the case of this pair, such as their history, their achievements on the table.
$31.
29 Triple Crown titles between them. 67 ranking titles. 9 Masters
32.
titles.
Yep, again, that's okay. And if this red goes into the middle of the
39.
corner, the reds are all there for the taking.
$40.
O'Sullivan started in a big way with that break of 97. Higgins has hit back very impressively so far. 72 should see him move into
47.
the lead.
If he takes blacks.
$48. $55. 56. 63.
'Clean. That was
64.
missable, especially with the pressure. Ideally, would have liked to have been a little bit straighter on the black, but it should be okay.
Just this black and one more red should do it.
Well, Jimmy was saying in the studio that he always plays the right shot. And again, that was
71.
more difficult to play the cannon rather than just dropping it in, but he played the right shot. And he always does.
72.
One visit snooker. Doesn't get any better. Although it
79.
did take him a couple of visits in the last frame, but he never got a chance, really, Ronnie O'Sullivan, in the last one.
Yeah, start of the second frame, if you recall, O'Sullivan knocked in that great long red. Didn't get on the black, played safe, but it wasn't safe. Left Higgins a long one, which he stroked in, and since then he's not looked back.
80. 87. 88.
Well, as you can see, 10 blacks and 1 pink, so the tournament high break well and truly on here.
$95.
His highest break against Mark Allen was 84. But he's already looking
96.
a good deal stronger this evening than he did for most of that match. He's raised his game. He knew he'd have to against O'Sullivan, particularly given the way O'Sullivan played in coming back to beat Ding, and he is most certainly doing so.
Yeah, and especially the way that Ronnie started. He knew he had to do something. And as you say, it all started with that long red that Ronnie O'Sullivan should have covered. Great 100 break.
His 33rd at the Masters. How big is it going to be?
$104.
His best ever in this tournament is 140. And a 145 would certainly
110.
set the bar very high for that £15,000 bonus. Currently owned by Yan Bingtao with his career high 141 to beat Maguire earlier. That's under serious threat here.
111.
Perfectly onto the black.
$118. 120.
What a break this has been. A couple of excellent rest shots much earlier in the piece.
123.
Yeah, it was a great wrist shot to open the break. Sullivan played the safety a little bit too thick.
127.
Sometimes when you have very high expectations of a match, it can fall a little flat. But this is pretty spectacular stuff
132.
so far.
Spot on. He's still got the magic, you know. Spades.
138.
The man from Wishaw showing some of his trademark wizardry.
Brilliant.
What about that?
145
Absolutely magnificent from John Higgins. The tournament high break is going to take some beating now. A 145 total clearance, a rueful smile from Ronnie O'Sullivan, who knows he's up against it tonight in a bid for the semi-finals. Higgins 2-1 up.
Jimmy White in the first round, Ronnie O'Sullivan faced a Ding Junhui. They come out of the traps like a greyhound. The same is happening tonight with John Higgins.
Yeah, phenomenal stuff, you know, absolutely near perfect snooker. This rest shot here is like, you know, it's a very difficult shot. But what I like about John, when he plays this rest shot here, he's got the blue, but if he knows, if he pots the black, he's got a chance of winning the frame in one visit. And I think he thinks he's got to do that with Ronnie O'Sullivan. Gets down, pots this black, goes on to make a 145 total clearance. Bingtao had the highest break pies for about 3 hours.
Yeah, you don't get many. You don't really think of John as being a particularly good rest player, but as you say, that opening red was especially good. And well, I mean, I didn't think that John was playing as well as he used to, but that was as good as you'll see from John any time. That was just a sensational break.
I tell you how spoilt we are here as well tonight. We're disappointed we didn't get a lesser spotted 146 back for the fourth frame.
Ronnie O'Sullivan started like a train with a break of 97, launched by a superb long red. Since then, he scored the princely sum of 1 point.
Frame 4.
1 pot.
John Higgins.
Been all John Higgins, 41 and 41, with 2 great long reds of his own, launching those breaks to equalise. And now the tournament high of 145, his best ever at the Masters. And now it's down to O'Sullivan to respond to that.
One.
He can do no wrong at the moment. Another excellent long pot.
Yeah, he had right-hand side on the cue ball as well to avoid the reds. And the kiss could have been better. Okay, it was on the yellow or the green, but it could have been so much easier. He's got a chance at this red to the right corner.
3.
But again, it could have been a little easier than this.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Right in the middle. We found another shot.
4.
May have to take the green. The blue could be in the way, taking the easier brown. He'd like to get the blue back on its spot. And this is a more difficult shot of the 3. Such a powerful ball, the blue, in break building, especially when the black's tied up.
Aye. 10. $16.
O'Sullivan, brilliant as he is, can't do anything from his chair. It's been over 36 minutes since he potted one.
Yeah, just the blue to play with now.
$17.
Yeah, if one of those reds go, be a good red to play for. May even be able to develop the black. He's overhit it. Oh, what a nice kiss. That's left him perfectly on this red. If it goes.
21.
Higgins happy to take his time in building this break. Nearly 7 minutes for his 22 points. That
22.
was around about the time it took O'Sullivan to win the opening frame, but he'll be very conscious of the fact that he's keeping O'Sullivan glued to his chair right now, freezing him out, giving himself a chance for a 3-1 interval lead after that magnificent tournament high 145 clearance just now.
Needs a bit of luck. And that was good enough.
27.
Leaves him on the red to the right corner or the middle.
$28.
Now he could decide to go into those reds surrounding the pink, try and bring the pink into play. I think he'd be unfortunate not to be on one. And he is on one. And the pink is now in play. May be able to play for it this time
33.
round and bring the black into play. Just looking to see what kind of an angle he needs on the pink to be able to play the cannon to the red and black and leave himself on a red. It's not just a matter of getting the cannon, but being able to be on a red. And he didn't like it.
34.
Down for the blue, which is under hit.
Yeah, sure.
There's only been one live ball missed in this match so far. That was when John Higgins
39.
was on his initial break of 41 in the second frame and missed a red after cannoning into the green. O'Sullivan hasn't missed one of consequence. The only one that he's missed was Academic at the end of his break of 97. That's the standard so far.
Another very good recovery shot.
40.
A little risky to play for the pink.
45.
Guaranteed to be on the blue if he plays down for it. Well, that
46.
was a little bonus. Didn't play to hit the reds. Another excellent positional shot
51.
from Higgins there. Two blues here. Should seem
52.
safe. Nothing that O'Sullivan can do about this, as Philip said, when you sat in your chair, it doesn't matter how good you are. You just got to watch your opponent until he's finished.
28 out of 29 pots for O'Sullivan.
57.
But it looks like a 3-1 interval deficit for the 7 times champ.
$58.
This is the long red. And it did look as though he had to play it with a lot of right-hand side just to turn the cue ball slightly. And he didn't get the best kiss on the blue. But he's battled through in this break.
63.
And he hasn't looked like missing, has he? This is the John
64.
Higgins of old.
Or it's the new John Higgins.
Well, he said he'd have to play his A game this evening. This is A star.
$70.
Hasn't won a title since the Welsh Open in 2018.
$71.
Hasn't won a Triple Crown title for a decade. But if he keeps playing like this,
77.
That long wait could soon be over.
Yeah, we don't need to ask him if he likes the cue, do we?
78.
Superb snooker so far.
O'Sullivan has done virtually nothing wrong. Left a long red for Higgins at the start of frame 2. That's about the size of his mistakes so far, and yet he's going to be 3-1 behind, having not potted a ball for more than 3/4 of an hour.
85.
He's not going to pot one in this frame.
$90. 92. 95.
That's a very long way to go. O'Sullivan trailed Ding Junhui 3-0 and 5-3, found a way to win. But John Higgins is producing
99.
snooker from his vintage years. Incredible stuff. Back-to-back centuries.
104. John Higgins 110.
This is a calibre of snooker befitting a match of this gravitas, and most of it's coming from the cue of John Higgins. 145, 110. What a match. Higgins at the break, 3-1 up.
Well, just because two great players meet in a major tournament doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it is happening. It is happening. Jimmy White and Neil Foulds have about 2.5 minutes to wipe up the drool before the mid-session.
Part of the McDonald's Saver menu.
This is live sport all day, but we got the ski jumping at 4 o'clock on Eurosport 2. Right, the Masters, the final, quarter-final. And it has been absolutely sensational so far. John Higgins 3-1 up against Ronnie O'Sullivan. It's been snooker that would be described as world-class in any era of the sport. We'll go through it frame by frame. Neil Foles, it was Ronnie who was out of the blocks quickest.
Oh, yeah. Ronnie started really well with a 97 break, and he looks extremely sharp in this break, you know. The way that he got in, John made a slight error. He played a safety shot, hit the blue, left Ronnie with his hand on the table, and he started particularly well, you know, a break of, like I say, 97. He just had this shot where we thought he wasn't on it at the time, but he could just get through, and went on to take the frame in pretty impressive style. This was an interesting shot because he played the brown but didn't really try to get far out of bulk. So he fancied the mid to long range red, which of course he absolutely devoured. So, you know, went on. He actually missed a ball at the end of that break, which wasn't in live play, and it's the only ball he has missed so far.
I'm just realising that. So basically, apart from that, he's 100% in every one of the categories. Long putt success, rest putt success, safety success, and missed one putt. He's 3-1 down, and all the credit goes to John Higgins. Let's have a look at frame 2, Jimmy.
Yep, after Ronnie made that 97 break, John Higgins here, first real shot he's had. Pot's a fantastic long red. I thought his match against Mark Allen, his long potting was superb. He's potted like 15 out of 18, and once again another long red. You know, when you got that confidence with your queuing long reds in like that, you're going to get in and make a lot of chances, and John Higgins has not needed a lot of chances. He's been superb.
Yeah, on that point as well, you look at the stats that he's put up over those 4 frames, it's sensational. Only one ball potted by any person who's lost a frame in the form. We had the 145 in frame 3.
Yeah.
Is it the first ever in the Masters, first ever 145?
Dave Hennon says yes, so I say yes.
That's in the book.
Yeah, no, I think so, yeah. There's been 3 147s, isn't it? Never been a 146 or 145.
Wow.
The 146 looked on. He made a couple of good rest shots here early. Got on the black at the beginning of the break. Someone said he's played 3 consecutive rest shots. Is that a record? No idea. I shouldn't think it is. Anyway, this was a shot where he pushed that red over the middle, and now we know, you know, he's going to go on and knock in a big number here. And this is John Higgins. I said he's not the player he was. He's made me my words. You know, this is as well as I've seen him play, you know, for a very, very long time.
You know, Ronnie played so well against Ding, found himself 3 frames down, 3 frames to 1 down, because he was just sitting in the seat most of the time. The same's happened here. And similarly, this is how John Higgins came out of the blocks in his first round match as well against Mark Allen, and he's just followed it up with 110.
Yeah, here's another shot, a long range red, played it with a bit of check side. You know, not got the greatest kiss there, but gets down, pots the yellow. Here's another red, bang in the centre of the pocket. You know, he is really queuing fantastic, but Ronnie O'Sullivan won't be too concerned because there's not a lot he can do about it. When your opponent's just playing great stuff, you just have to sit there and admire. Here, John Higgins goes into the reds. You know, he's got control of the cue ball at the moment, and he's just looking sensational.
I think like you can make a break of 145 as he has done there, and he's gone into a zone, you know, into that twilight zone where you're just not really thinking about anything else. You know, most players have had it sometimes. John Higgins had it a lot, you know, and to the point where Ronnie has not potted a ball for 47.5 minutes of playing time, of which there was no tip-tapping around. That was all John Higgins in this sort of trance-like state which players can get in. The mid-session interval can sometimes take players out of that little zone into the real world.
Well, it better not. It better not, because this one so far is one for the record books back in a couple. Welcome back to Milton Keynes. Listen, these stats are just worth just looking at for at least another 10-15 seconds, Neil. This explains in numbers what a treat it's been in real life.
And what it explains is that Ronnie O'Sullivan's stats are so good because you can't make any mistakes sitting in your chair watching. You're not doing anything, are you? John has been good. He's gone back to, a time when he does play like this, but it's a small section of the match of which he's been really, really good at. Whether he can maintain it is another matter, but he's been sensational tonight.
Yeah, John scored 337 points and has a putt success of 98%. And during the break, Jimmy, you were talking about when they come back from the mid-session, and you said that the ghost of Joe Davis couldn't beat John Higgins if he keeps playing like he did in the last 2 plays.
Make no mistake, we're so used to seeing Ronnie do this to people, and, John Higgins here is just playing at the top of his game, but Ronnie can't be... thinking he's playing bad. He's had a 97, he's up for it, but John Higgins has obviously got to miss a few, and the next couple of games are huge for Ronnie.
I think there's always that thing out there when you're not doing much wrong and the other guy's playing well. You do take something out of it that's not as bad. You don't think, well, I made all these mistakes. Ronnie hasn't really made any mistakes, so he can take some small comfort, the crumb of comfort out of that, knowing it's a best of 11, he's 3-1 down, and now there's a lot of snooker to be played, of which he's yet to really have a chance to play.
Yeah, okay, listen, you know what we've seen. We have high expectations for it to continue when we return after this break. So if you have any distractions you need to get out of the way, get them out of the way now. If you need to break up from a relationship just so you can watch this, now's the time to send a text. Welcome back. This is what is at stake. A place in the semi-finals of the 2021 Masters. And yes, it's in Milton Keynes, and yes, there's no crowd. But I'm telling you, this is the real deal. John Higgins and Ronnie O'Sullivan, an absolute treat so far. And I wonder, Jimmy, does John Higgins like being this much of an underdog? Because it doesn't happen often.
No, it's not often that John Higgins plays and he is a big underdog, and he would have seen what's gone there, seen the way Ronnie O'Sullivan come back against Ding. He would have been pleased with beating Mark Allen, but not pleased with his form. So he's come out here, second favourite, and what a great champion he is, John Higgins, has produced the goods so far.
And what's great about this, and I don't think 19 minutes sitting backstage is going to change it, is Ronnie's 3-1 down without really putting a foot wrong. John's 3-1 up without really putting a foot wrong. Why won't it continue?
Well, no, sometimes the mid-session interval does change people's perspective on matches, but these two really do know all about the game enough. They know how things can change. They know it might not change. They just are able to put the next frame, you know, into their mind and forget the past.
Fifth frame.
If it doesn't change, we'll remember this for a long, long time. Hope you're enjoying it at home. Thank you so much for choosing Eurosport. Back to Joe and Phil.
Well, Ronnie O'Sullivan breaks off in frame 5. He must be wondering what's hit him there. He played a perfect opening frame. He knocked in a brilliant red at the start of the second. And ever since then, he's been sitting watching John Higgins compile 337 unanswered points. This is not a novel experience, though, for O'Sullivan against Higgins. I'll take you back to the 2005 Grand Prix final when Higgins won 9-2 and scored 4 consecutive centuries and made 494 points without reply. He has been quite outstanding so far tonight. But we're only barely halfway through.
Yep, a lot can happen yet.
There's confirmation. It bears repeating. Just one ball was missed in live play in that quartet of frames. Higgins missed a red on a break of 41 in the second frame. O'Sullivan missed when he was on 97 in the first. That didn't matter. Barely a mistake of any kind.
Anxious looks there from Ronnie O'Sullivan. He can pop the red. But the cue ball, unless he puts a lot of side on the cue ball, it's going into the reds. And it always makes the shot harder when you play with side. So O'Sullivan with a chance. You wouldn't say a good one, because if this red is straight, it's very difficult to get to a colour. But the left-hand side that he put on the cue ball there, it made the shot just that little bit more difficult. Well, he has a slight angle.
One.
Just a little bit too much topspin on the cue ball. It slowed it down rather than speeded it up. Excellent safety from O'Sullivan.
Well, at least he's broken that burst of scoring from Higgins, who taps the table in acknowledgement of the excellent safety come snooker from O'Sullivan. Paul Hunter Trophy in the background there. That's what it's all about on Sunday night, along with the small matter of a cheque for £250,000.